We do not own the rights to anything or any music that's heard during the duration of this podcast. Also, a lot of these shows will have explicit content. So if you are not a fan of any cursing or profanity, you may want to walk away, but that does not mean that every show will consist of such. I know y'all tired of it, but we got a new season of The Pass. Welcome to season 8, the Mamba Year. Podcast available on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of your podcast platforms. Here you'll get a dose of content related to tech, the productivity world, and most importantly, how to be a better you. The theme for this year, personally, is receiving grace. And we definitely want to do better with receiving it and being open to being a better us from who we were a year ago. So this is season 8 of The Pass, and I hope you all enjoy.
The distractions could cause you to go delulu. And that is going to be the starting point of today's walk. I've been slacking and I've been struggling, but sometimes you have to understand it's a reason you're intended to get up and do things that you don't want to do. Because if you're not doing it, somebody else is doing it. And they're doing it at a higher level, whether you realize it or not. Um, we get into some really, really, really deep content, a deep conversation today because whether anybody wants to hear it or not, it's it's real in these streets, man. And the reason the main point of why I'm starting with that or why I'm making that a statement is because it's it's the way life teaches us lessons without knowing we're intended to learn the lesson. Um, First and foremost, happy post Thanksgiving Day. Uh, my bad, I'm getting all the little all my little internal tech stuff prepared, but we on, man. We here, we ready. Um, it's I did a video yesterday about, you know, Thanksgiving and how this is like that. I only want to say awkward Thanksgiving, but this isn't a what I would define and consider as a non-traditional Thanksgiving for a plethora of reasons. Even much so that the folks who I normally would converse with or want to talk to or hang around, I was very minimal in who or how I want to be bothered. But luckily, one of my good friends, he got me out of the house, which is always a plus because sometimes you need that get out the house moment to kind of get back on track. And that was very well received. But this morning, and I didn't really plan or expect or intend to do a walk video, walk cast. But I don't know, for some reason, I need to go walk. And not even a minute as I'm leaving, I realize why. With There's a thing that people do, and I don't know why how this works, but there's a misconceived concept where if a person that knows you knows that you're off, their language means, oh, you're off, so you're free and you can do blah 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 blah. And you don't have anything planned. And I'm like, that's not necessarily true. Like, I know it doesn't seem like I don't do stuff, but I do quite a bit. And it's everyone's convenience in life is different. I'll start with that first and foremost. So that's going to be kind of the starting point before I get into the video that I watched. Because Listen, I don't really catch a lot of messages, but anytime a message hits personally, it's a reason. And I was intended to definitely catch this message. So we're gonna get into this, man. But it's just what it is. Um, as many of you know, a month ago, or nearly a month ago, an election happened. Now, let me get some disclaimers out of the way. I personally do not care who or how you voted. I don't. But it's also important to discuss and address an important element involving voting. And that is that regardless of how you may or may not feel about it, does not mean that you use a platform to express your feeling. And I'll explain what I mean by that in just a moment. Yeah. So when you have an opinion, online apps are the worst place to share an opinion. And why? The reason it's the worst place is because you can post it and you don't know who's going to download, save, share, or put whatever it is that you did out there to other people. With my podcast, for instance, I'm real, I'm real sensitive about my content to begin with. So I'm always very wary and very observant of what I say, what I share, and how I share it. So I don't let everyone in to my window of content. I just don't. And some people would probably be like, well, what's the big deal? It's not that serious. And I'm like, ho ho, contraire. You would be surprised. And by the way, before we go any further, this is my reminder of why I do these walks at 5, because between 5 and 6, there's nobody outside. I haven't been out here for not even 6 minutes, and already I done seen and or heard 3 different extensive conversations. I'm like, this is why I don't come out at this time of the day. I need to come out when it's dark. It's not a vibe. Uh, but people can get very, by default and by nature, very opinionated online. Again, there's no issue with that. But the issue becomes when your opinion can impact the wrong things. So a lady from the person, so the person did a reaction video, and this is gonna spark a lot of conversation that I have been really experiencing in my life of podcasting and blogging. And I've talked about this a little bit before, but I'll get into that part in a moment. But uh, the lady does her reaction video to a guy talking about a friend of his that was experiencing some infractions with work. Understandable, no big deal, nothing to make a scene about. Well, the young lady put a video out and shared her thoughts on some personal topics. The personal topic being the election. And people don't talk about this a lot, but I'm going to talk about it because that's just what my content space allows me to learn is a thing. And that is, as much as people think it's a good thing, I think it's cool, you do not want everything to go viral. Like, let me repeat what I just said. You do not want everything to go viral because if your virality gets in the wrong hands, or if someone who don't like you but claims they like you sees what you post and saves it and then puts it online or gets it to someone who's in a position to put your employment or your life at risk, there's a problem. So she put this video up, and a few days later, she gets brought in to HR. So she talks to like the higher ups, and they said, we're gonna let you take the rest of the day off because it's almost like, for lack of a better term, is we're doing an investigation, but we already know our decision, but we just need to make sure we have everything in line to do what we're gonna do. So she goes home, she comes in the next day, and as someone who saw this firsthand years ago, this is one of the worst experiences you can experience. And that is seeing that you swiped a badge and your badge don't work, or you get to your computer and you can't log in. Like when those things start to happen, there's something to be alarmed about. And I've said this to people with jobs. I've said this to people I work with. I said the two things that I'm always concerned about is, did my Windows login work and does my badge work? If those two things are working, we good. But this individual goes to get on her to try to swipe, can't get in. She's escorted to security. As security escorts her to like an area where they have all her belongings already boxed up and pretty much got her in a position of letting her go. And sometimes we don't think of the repercussions of things that we do. And I'm gonna shift the conversation a little bit and say what a lot of people don't like hearing, but something that we need to take better responsibility of, and that's discipline. We have to be disciplined with technology and with the internet. The other example he gave, and why I am emphatic about this, is a nurse lost a job and could possibly be facing some charges, criminal charges, because the patient died while she was on live. She's working with this patient. And the dumb part is, if you're in any hospital or in any space, they have cameras. And you got folks that's like, oh, yeah, I saw it. She was doing this and did that. And then to make matters worse, and this is just full transparency and full truth. I am friends with my coworkers, but I always make it clear that I probably am meticulous with posting because out of the group, like, and I'm not saying this to as a badge of honor, but I'm the OG. Like, I really don't. Do I post stuff online? Sure. Do I learn how have I learned how to post online? Absolutely. Like everyone does not have the access. And if you know, you know. Like I really and truly cherish my space of close friends. So a lot of people don't get the close friends access. Yeah, you can get all the posts I share online. You can get all the little videos and messages I share. Lately, to be brutally honest, and this is what I've talked about without without it being obvious, is I've probably geared myself more towards doing a lot of written form, kind of long form content than doing, okay, here's a picture, here's my location, here's a song attached to the picture, and having you be in the moment of the event or whatever. Because I don't see the urge or don't see the need, at least from my personal point of view. But people have to really be intentional and most importantly, be disciplined with what they post or what they share. You can feel how you feel about whatever. And this is what I was hitting at earlier. I probably don't post a lot of stuff as people would expect me to post because I do a lot of writing. I found writing to be like a very strong solution. And I didn't think it would be a strong solution, but for whatever reason, I can put it in a notebook, I can put it in on paper, and it's like it's gone. I'm good. Putting it in a status, I've statuses are gonna be written or posts are gonna be written because it's things that I can publicly talk about and they don't become a big deal. And one thing that the person who did the video said that I'm gonna talk about, and I've been open in this dialogue with a lot of people, is everyone who has the ability to access the internet can create content. Everyone does not want to create content. So what many people will do is they will look at you and say, well, you're doing this type of content. I think it would be good for you to talk about blah, blah, blah. Or it would be, this is a good subject or a good topic to get into. And the truth is, that's not a topic that I want to talk about. And people see a while ago, like one of my longtime friends did this. She was famous for it. She would say, yeah, I think you should write a blog about blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And I'm like, okay, doesn't mean I'm going to do it because just because you say I should do it doesn't mean I should write about it. Because how I'm going to talk about it might not be the way that you need it to be discussed. Along with the fact that I don't really, people don't understand when it comes to creating or doing any form of content, your content has to work for who you are and what you do. And if it don't fit that mold or don't fit that criteria, then it's not gonna stick. Plain and simple. It's just not. Uh we were I kind of came out of my shell in the Discord group that I'm with for the note-taking app Cortex that I've talked about it a little bit before, but it's a platform designed by Dan Coe and a few developers. And it's kind of not, I won't say claiming, but intended to be a notion battle in the sense of we don't want to be what Notion is because, which is good because Notion is a very high-end platform that can do a lot of stuff that most people don't even really know its immense capability. But there are some people who just want to go to a space capture a thought and get it out. And in my usage of the beta with Cortex, I love it. I think it works. I think it's what people who like to write need. Um, there are things that I'm having to adjust to. And it's not even the character limit. It's more of knowing how to properly invest time in using it and drowning out the noise. Well, going back to this video really sparked me to learn that after tomorrow, we are pretty much in the final month of the year. And a lot of people have made it to this point. A lot of people have lost people that they wish could have made it to this point. There are a lot of various factors that individuals, whether they openly say it or not, are experiencing through this time. Like yesterday, for Thanksgiving, I didn't really want to share the video that I shared, but I also know I needed to talk about it. Now, did I need to put it out in that form? I didn't have to. I didn't need to, but I opted and chose to. I didn't post it looking for pity. I didn't post it looking to go viral. I posted it as many of my friends who have been checking in or have had concerns, it was able to give them some clarity and an idea of where I'm at with whatever. So it it can at times be a lot, whether we realize it or not, but we have to know how to properly cope through the things that are going on in our lives, whether we want to or not. And one thing I've been working very hard on improving is writing. And I know everyone's like, oh Lord, here comes Brian with this writing stuff again. And here's here's why this is important. And I'm going to shock a lot of you when I say what I'm about to say, because it is true. People who, and if you choose, if this is what you choose to do, it's what you choose to do. I'm not pointing fingers at all. But if you choose to write something that can be journaled, then there's a problem. I mean, if you choose to journal something, if you choose to stream or upload a video related to something that we did not need to publicly know, there's an issue. Because the fact of the matter is, whatever it is that you shared or whatever it is that you talked about online, somebody, sure, you're gonna have someone that's gonna relate to it. That's a given, that's granted, that's fair. But if it gets in the wrong hands, people, they may not openly do it, but people can use stuff against you that's shared or talked about. Whether you think they are gonna do it or not, they can do it. And the sad part of it is you have no control over it. Uh, I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I'll talk about it again now because I did realize that my TikTok page has gone through a name adjustment because and it's funny because when I made my TikTok page, the current one, I made it on the strength of, oh, well, it's gonna be tied into the podcast. But over time, it just became a personal TikTok, like anybody else would do. Um, thinking back on that, this is random, but it's something to really connect. The content on TikTok that I shared could have been a bit repurposed. And here's what I mean. I easily could have taken audio snippets from other recordings that I've done and snipped them into shorts or something to put on TikTok and kind of get the podcast push going. Which, side note and relevant discussion, marketing can be overwhelming. And I'm probably going to start trouble, but I'm going to end trouble because this is Brian we're talking about. Marketing can be very difficult because we look at marketing based on what we see everyone else do for marketing. When the reality is you market in a way that works for your brand or for your style. And everyone's marketing tactics are not going to look the same. But the good part is that's okay. We don't need to mirror our marketing based on what other people do. Like, I'm only laughing because this is such a real thing. You do not want to do a get ready with me from someone who stole from a store. And I think I think I shared this on a recording before. I don't know. I probably haven't, but a lady got arrested. And again, let me be clear before I go further. I am not a pop culture podcast by a long shot, but some sources and forms of content that come up, you can't not talk about it because it's like it's it's weird, but it's funny because when you think back on it, you're like, there's no way this person did that. But it's like, no, they did it. And here's proof that they did it. Someone stole from Target, wore the clothes in the video, but then showed themselves on the video going to the store and then being seen getting products that they actually didn't buy. Not understanding that most big box stores have cameras. Like, as much as I think as much as people might feel a certain type of way about privacy, cameras are everywhere. So I'll leave y'all with that. I had another topic, another thought that I was just on, but it's gone. It's long gone. But I will I will tell everyone as we continue this walk and full transparency, this is me walking off what I had yesterday. Um, to be aware of, be certain of your toolkit. And the toolkit is a three-piece toolkit that's going to shock you when I say this. And it is your phone, a pen, and paper. And I know the first thing a lot of people are going to say is, I cannot believe, as much as you talk about digital well-being and discipline and not being on your phone, that one of the things you mentioned is your phone. Well, the reason I say the phone is because if you know how to use if you know how to use the phone as a tool and you are not the tool, the phone is a very valuable resource. And when I say valuable, I mean valuable. Valuable in the sense that you literally can learn how to do anything and apply it to what you're doing. Case in point, it is 2024. I believe in either 2021 or 2022, I acquired a plethora of courses And I think it was around Black Friday on Udemy. And there was one point that I talked about these courses so much that it almost aggravated me. Well, now I've looked at where I'm at with a lot of personal things, and I'm like, why have I not been making any money? Let me backtrack. Why have I not been utilizing the tools to create revenue and create income? I mean, I have the business for this product, but I'm not making products. And then it goes back to the infamous phrase, I'm leaving money on the table. And as much as I've looked at my current bullet journal and how few pages I have left, I'm writing that one probably, I'm probably going to be staying in that bullet journal until the end of the year. I'm not going to transfer to the nostalgic one for the sake of planning. But what I will do is use this one to the bone, rightfully so. But I'm mentioning that because when we put money into different apps, different programs, we sometimes don't realize that they have a cost. And the cost isn't monetary. The cost is actually um time. And I'm sharing this with you all because we don't think about this enough in our day to day, but we are given an equal amount of time. And here's where I'm going with it when I talk about those three elements. I want you to think of when you were a kid or when you were an adult, and think of how you cherished time. And everyone's cherishment of time is not the same, right? We've heard that, we know that, we've seen it. But the truth is, we I have heard people say this. I don't have enough time in the day. You sure? Let me see your screen time real quick. Android, iPhone, don't care. Let me see your screen time. And when you see the screen time and you see 8 hours on Instagram, 4 hours on YouTube, 3 hours on TikTok. Oh, you have time. That was 15 hours right there. Kind of interchangeable because you may have went to it for a little bit, or you might have went on YouTube and gone down the rabbit hole. Here's where things get different and they get a little dicey. When you are on a mobile device or on a device that shows viewing things, and what I mean by that is uh, Apple TV, Chromecast, you name it. They will have options for you to watch or do certain things with these with these devices. But there's no screen time. So you could go on YouTube, catch a few videos, disappear, and all of a sudden here it is you didn't get what you needed to get done because you went into the internet loop. So then that's where the other two accessories become important, the pen and paper. The phone becomes important based on the discipline with the phone because I don't care which device you have, which team you are, all devices have two things. They have silent and they have do not disturb. And I don't think anyone can prove me wrong on either of those theories or analogies. I will check with my Android folks and confirm, but you have the ability to place your phone on do not disturb. Heck, and I remember this video at least, it's been at least 2 years now. Put your phone in airplane mode. And people get hot because they want to access everything. They need to be online. They need to be connected. They've got to be in the know. It's like, no, you don't. You're not missing anything. The same thing that you thought was going to be up there is still up there. So you're not missing a whole lot. This is how I know I've been used to doing the 25-minute walk because I was still walking and I'm like, hold on. I think I need to get ready to slide on back. But please find and work on your discipline ending the year. I've said this numerous times. Do not sit here and think, oh, after December 31st at 11:59, at midnight on January 1st, everything is going to change. Newsflash, it ain't going to change. It is not going to change. I need to listen to my older episode that I still have yet to upload. We can talk about that though. But um, it was about how important it is. I think in that video, I mean recording, I shared my theme for next year. Hope I did. If I didn't, then I'm gonna probably do my traditional when I do year end, just sit down and fix and push it on the air during the show. And, but the joy, this is where the beauty of pen and paper come into play because and this is an honest statement, and this is just me being fully transparent. As many times as I've done podcasts, there are very few instances that I sit with a pen and paper while I'm recording. And the only reason I don't do it is because I don't know why. Like that helicopter is going in this morning. I think that was, and it's funny because I think it was a med flight, but I digress. Um, but sometimes there are going to be notes and things to retain during a show, and the worst thing to do is to note it in a note-taking app that you may not open again for months. Because I'm gonna ask you all this, those who are listening. When is the last time you've opened your notes app or your various notes apps and gone back and looked at the notes that you've taken? Um, Sam Altman, I believe former CEO of ChatGPT or OpenAI, I think he's in that role of being the CEO or something of that nature. He did a discussion explaining the, for lack of a better term, the lost art of pen and paper. And why I'm sharing this and why this is something that I really want to bring home, and it didn't help when he did it. The cover photo was, so I didn't know, and many of you won't care. And I'm not saying it just in a negative way, I'm just saying in an honest way. That, so I'm a big, many of you know I'm a pen fan, but there is a pen that has been out probably since I was in middle school, high school, known as the Pilot Precision. And they had two versions. They had the V5 and the V7. You know. Well, that pen has gotten a bit of a facelift. They still have the original version, But now they have a newer version that just came out a couple of days ago. So I'm looking at it and contemplating on it, but also like learning, hey, we're gonna be disciplined, right? We're gonna do the right thing with our finances. So I'm doing that first. And then once that's cleaned up and ironed out, you know, do those simple things and be embracive to that level or layer of self-care. So pen and paper, notebook and paper. I've emphasized it enough on numerous podcasts. Walmart, if you want to go now, you can, but I'd say after Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Uh 3-pack penning gear or pen gear or something like that. 3-pack of notebooks, small pocket notebooks, $1. I still have the other two from when I first bought it. And Sam Altman, ironically, this article that I read was hilarious because it was talking about how you even to get, and the person who wrote the article, I was on his side 100% because he was saying, the guy said, Sam says you should use, if you're gonna use a notebook, you should use the notebooks that have the spiral, that are spiral bound to go in your pocket. And I was like, no, absolutely not. I get the whole you want the page to lay flat. I get that part of it, but I could get a much better right now. I can get a much better bang for my buck with either field notes without the spiral or Moleskine. And I haven't bought a Moleskine notebook in forever. I think the brand is Exceed. Walmart has like their their brand of notebooks, and they have become a game changer by far. So that's what I got for y'all today. Again, I know this is one of those tangenty type of recordings, but I really want people to find the balance and the usage between what they have and what they need. So if you're on your phone, try to reduce that screen time to the best of your ability. And if you are going to use the phone, use it for the essential thing. So, like in this case, I'm doing voice recordings so frequently that it's hard for me not to do it. But on that note, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. BC signing out.
Truly hope you all enjoyed the show. Definitely was a lot to unpack, but I know you'll walk away with something important. As I share at the end of each season, do find your way to get into podcasting if it's something you would like to do. My podcasts are currently recorded via Buzzsprout. Been very good to me. If you want to learn more about using them, definitely hit me up at thepastbtpod@gmail.com. And also the microphone that you're hearing me on is the Blue Yeti X. Have been rolling with it for over 3 years. We've been doing this ride for quite some time, so I hope someone could find this mic useful. Again, find those people who are good or helpful in what you're trying to do to be better today than you were yesterday. The primary goal is to be 1% better. Hope you all have an amazing day, and we'll be back again to do this next time.